This is a YFZ450. Can you believe it? As you can tell, 70th anniversary edition. Some of you might have seen my previous video on it. Just wanted to provide a little update on what exactly I've done to it since then. You can tell it's a little bit dirty. Whoops. But yeah, I've just done really what many would consider to be the most basic of modifications. Kind of go over the philosophy I had for modifying this here machine. But yeah, so to get into it, before I made any power mods, I wanted to make sure this machine would be nice and reliable. A lot of people have probably spoken about the issues that the YFZs have from the factory, namely the clutch basket. Basically the original factory design came with springs on the exterior. I'll include a clip here. This, friends, is what they call doo-doo dog shit. Basically where you get the cracks is right around these holes right here, and it'll just crack outward and kablam. Boo. Of the springs that you see on the outside, and basically the casing around those springs can crack, and next thing you know, you got springs exploding into your internal case walls. Not ideal, believe it or not. And for whatever reason, it's been over 10 years and Yamaha has still not corrected this issue or reverted to their old style. So basically what you have to do is you have to order an OEM clutch basket and then swap it out with the now modern OEM clutch basket. And they're not cheap. They're like, I want to say like $400. So it's just something you kind of got to know when you get into buying a new YFZ these days. I really hope they address it and fix it. But yeah, so that was one of the first things I did. And then now we're on the flywheel side, of course. Some people say that the OEM flywheel bolts will shear off after a certain amount of time. Not sure how widespread it is, but it's such an easy replacement that it's really just worth doing. So I got a new set of those and I Loctited those up. And what a lot of people don't remember to do when they replace these flywheel bolts is they will put oil back in the machine before the Loctite will cure. And then next thing you know, you got them backing out and more engine explosions, which you don't want, believe it or not. So those are the first two essential mods that I did. And then now we can move on to some of the power stuff I did, which I did not do anything crazy. I just did the big three, and I did AIS delete as well. Might be easier to show on this side of the machine. But back in here, you can see that red plate right there. That came from 8 Motorsports, I believe. I'll blip that out if I'm incorrect on the company name, but 38 Motorsports. I'm an idiot. They sell a pretty convenient little plate block off here. That's where the OEM input would be, or I should say output would be for the air injection system, which if you don't know, it basically just spits out any dirty air directly back into the intake, which is not ideal for performance. So what you can do is get this plate, install that in, take out the hosing, and get yourself one of the original brackets before they had this, because the original YFZ450R did not have the AIS system, and they had this original bracket which will hold up your clutch cable here, just to kind of clean things up. So I did that, and then of course my big three mods from RP Race. Basically what I did, they sell a power kit that comes with a throttle body as well, but I did not upgrade my throttle body. Partly because of money, but also due to reliability. I've heard that once you start pushing in the 50 horsepower range with the YFZ engine, you lose a decent bit of reliability. So that's kind of why I was thinking stick with the just typical big three. So I did full exhaust here, which I think matches pretty well with the 70th anniversary edition colors. And I did the RP Race intake, which is pretty sweet little build there, which I'll include some footage of. It might be kind of difficult to show here, but you can see the RP in there, and goes into the airbox here. Let me take that off real quick. So here's with the airbox lid removed. You can see the RP Race provided air filter there, which is pretty nice. Another thing I really like is the fact that it is designed to work with airbox lid on. For someone like me, I like to ride in wet and muddy conditions and trail ride, so that's pretty ideal for the type of riding I do, and to still get power from it is pretty sweet. But to get into why, another reason why I chose RP Race is this intake over the Field Customs, which I had watched a YouTube video about before making any purchase, which I'm glad I did, because I didn't realize that the Fuel Customs intake does not have a tab for this sensor here. So to me, that makes a big difference. And being able to reuse the OEM airbox is pretty nice too. So just those things combined made it the right choice for me. Not to say that FCI is junk, definitely not saying that. Works well for a lot of folks, but for me, this just made a little bit more sense. The amount of modification I had to do to the airbox is pretty minimal too. So fitting this in here on the other hand was not exactly a fantastic time. You can see it's pretty tight in there, but you're gonna face that with pretty much any aftermarket intake that you choose. So yeah, pretty sweet little build here, very nicely made. Yeah, good deal. And of course, lastly, I did the Vortex ECU, and that was custom mapped by RP Race, which is pretty sweet that they'll do that. I figured that'd be a lot cheaper than bringing this thing to a dyno, and it runs pretty good, I will say. So yeah, I kind of just want to do an overview of what I've done, and show you guys some riding footage, which I'll throw at the end of this. But yeah, it's pretty fast, no more bog. And I will say, after having broken it in, riding with stock components is 100% worth doing the big three. So if you get a new YFZ and you're considering doing it, I would definitely recommend it.